The CalPERS long-term care class action suit lawyers recently announced that the court will hold a final fairness hearing on July 26, 2023 at 11 a.m. to consider whether the new settlement is fair, reasonable, and adequate. In this video, I provide a summary of what the CalPERS long-term care class action participants now can expect. Please note that only those policyholders who selected a CalPERS long-term care policy with the inflation protection feature are included in the class. Settlement class members, or the settlement class, means all persons who meet all of the following criteria. 1, they purchased an LTC1 or LTC2 policy between 1995 and 2004. 2, they were citizens of California in February of 2013. 3, in 2013, their policies included automatic inflation protection benefits. And 4, they were subjected to the 85% premium increase announced by CalPERS in 2013 and implemented in 2015 and 2016. Only those policyholders who met all 4 of these criteria are included in the class action suit. The lawyers who are representing the class have announced that the court will hold a final fairness hearing on July 26, 2023 at 11 a.m. to consider whether the new settlement is fair, reasonable, and adequate. If the settlement is approved by the court and no appeal is filed, it is expected that the settlement will become final in late September of 2023, and the payments will be issued in January of 2024. Once the settlement becomes final, you will receive a notice advising you that you can discontinue your premium payments. Any additional updates will be posted on the class action website, which is shown on the left. The fact that a final fairness hearing is scheduled apparently is an indication that either fewer than 1% of the eligible class members have elected to opt out of the proposed settlement, or that regardless of the number opting out, CalPERS is electing to go forward with the settlement. As one can see, there are several different categories of settlement class members who are participating in the class action suit. Category A participants were given the option of surrendering their policies and receiving 80% of their premiums back, or of keeping their policies and receiving $1,000 in cash and a promise from CalPERS not to increase premiums for 1 year from the date of the final settlement. Those participants in categories B and C were given basically the same settlement options as Category A participants, but it's unlikely that any would choose to surrender their policies since they're getting benefits. It's important to note that if you fall into categories A, B, or C, and you did not choose a settlement option by the June 6, 2023 deadline, you will be deemed to have selected option 2. Likewise, it is important to note that if you fall into category A, you must continue making premium payments until the new settlement becomes final and effective. Do not stop making premium payments until you receive notice from the class attorneys that the settlement is final and effective. Interestingly, the proposed settlement provides some benefits for those who let their policies lapse in response to the steep premium increases imposed by the CalPERS long-term care program. Those in Category D can receive up to 40% of the total premiums that they paid since the inception of their policy, less any claims they made. Go to the settlement website for information on how to file a claim if you allow your policy to lapse. Those in Category E can receive 80% of the additional payments they made after January 1, 2015, or $2,000, whichever is greater. If you fall into categories D or E, Visit the class action attorney's website for information on how to file a claim. Categories F and G cover settlement class members who passed away after February 1st, 2013, and before the final settlement date. The estates of these policyholders can receive 80% of the additional premiums these class members incurred. The executors of these estates of these category members should visit the class action lawyer's website for information on how to file a claim. Category H covers participating settlement members who paid the premium increases that are being challenged in the class action lawsuit, who then went on claim and exhausted all their benefits before the final settlement date. Members of this category are entitled to receive 80% of all the additional premiums they paid as the result of the challenged rate increases. Those in this category should visit the class action lawyer's website for information on how to file a claim. Finally, some time may elapse between the June 6, 2023 final notice date and the final settlement date. As a result, some policyholders who are not on claim as of the notice date may find themselves needing long-term care before the final settlement date. These policyholders then will fall into Category I and will receive a late election form that will give them two new options. Those choosing new option 2 will receive a refund equivalent to 80% of all premiums paid to CalPERS for their long-term care policy from the inception of the policy through the final settlement date, less any benefits paid under the CalPERS long-term policy. Any participating settlement class member who elects new option 1 shall receive a minimum payment of no less than $8,000. All participating class members who select this new option 1 are then required to surrender their CalPERS long-term policy upon payment of this refund. Participating Category I settlement class members who elect new option 2 shall receive a cash payment of $1,000 and shall retain their policies and all benefits due thereunder. Note that any participating Category I settlement class members who do not submit a late election form shall be deemed to have selected option 2. In closing, let me say that the second proposed settlement has turned out to be quite complicated. I hope that this video has provided you with some degree of clarity, but please keep in mind that if you have any questions about how the second proposed settlement affects you, it is the class attorney's website that has the definitive information. In addition, since every policyholder's individual situation is unique, it's a good idea to discuss your options under the second proposed settlement with a trusted advisor who understands your personal financial and medical situation.